My toe name is Earl, 53,595, and a stolen TA status. This is Achievement Hunting 101. Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101, the new home for achievement hunters and gamer score junkies. I'm Fufu Cully Poof, and thank you for listening. This is level 37. Now we have a smaller crew tonight. It's myself and fellow Young and Corey.
Hi, as always.
And our babysitter, Nate.
Hello.
Nate, tell us about your week. How was it?
My week was not bad. I was working on some Vayners. So I was doing some more Arkham Blackgate. And then I think, why did I go into the other Arkham? Can't remember, but I went into Arkham City and Arkham City. I was looking for one achievement and I ended up playing for 6 achievements, I think, because they didn't pop. Like the toast never happened. So I was like, oh, I need an achievement. Oh, right. That's right. It was for the quest. I needed 2 achievements in Arkham City. So I went through and nothing popped up. No toast. So I ended up getting 6 and having a good time playing games instead of moving on to other games.
Now, Arkham City is not the Vayner one.
I was just about to ask that. Is that the Vayner?
No, I guess it's not the Vayner. Is it Arkham Asylum?
Asylum.
Yeah, which makes no sense to me because they're all the same thing. And actually, I think we had talked about this before, and I said that I did not agree with Arkham games being Vayners. But after playing Blackgate and then going from Blackgate back to an Arkham game, I see the argument. It plays a lot like a Metroid Prime, which I think you kind of have to throw into the Metroidvania camp. So I can see the justification for it. I'm still not sold, but I definitely see the justification for it. And I just love those Arkham games. I'm not great at them, but they are good.
Well, you get to play them 6 times.
Yes.
If you really want.
If you want that stack.
At least. How about you, Corey? How was your week?
Well, my week was a tad bit different than past weeks. As far as gaming goes, I've decided to play for fun-ish. I'm still getting an achievement a day, at least, for the streak. But it's mostly in a game. One game that I'm playing, unless I just can't get one and I have to get a quick one. But I've decided to start playing A Hat in Time, which is a game I won last year, I think, off a TA stream. And it's a good game. It's a platformer. The camera is horrendous, so keep that in mind if you want to start it. But the gameplay is fairly solid otherwise. A very cute game. Hecka cute, as the protagonist might say if she talked. But yeah, I've just been having fun with it. I didn't look at a list. I'm not really looking at guides unless I get stuck, which I haven't really gotten stuck.
Who are you and what have you done with Corey?
Which of the Mario 64 games would you liken this more to? Is this more like a Mario 64? More like a, what's the one with the backpack?
The Sunshine.
Yeah, and then, or
that
Galaxy. Which would you say?
Well, had I played those enough to warrant a comparison, I don't know. Maybe Sunshine. I don't know. Okay. There's different levels, and after you do a level, you go back to your spaceship, and you can go back and replay or whatever. And they amount to chapters and however, but that's not very linear. It's linear to a very basic extent, but after you do some stuff, you can go wherever you want. But
how's the polish?
It's a higher tier indie game.
Okay,
so it's not quite where the bees make honey, but it's not quite. I don't know. It's escaping me right now. One of the good ones, but maybe like Yonder. Yonder looked pretty good from what I saw, but. It's in the middle to higher tier there, but it is an indie game and it is a more expensive indie game. But it's rated very well, and I can see why. And so I'm having fun with it, just playing it how it's meant to be played, and just taking it in. So I don't know if that will be a new norm for me or not, but that's what I've been playing this past week. I did decide to throw threes on the tag though last night because I couldn't get an achievement in a hat in time, and that was a quick one. But the infamous threes is now there.
Watch out for that on the different contests.
Oh well, I mean that's why you have filters and why you
okay, so you're
trim
one of
down
them.
your list.
Gotcha.
The best part of threes is,
I'm with you, by the way.
The best feature of threes is no longer there, right? This back when they had the sidebar.
In my day.
It wasn't that long ago.
Snap.
When you had the snap feature and you could play threes while you're waiting for something else to go on, or you play threes while you're watching TV. That was the killer feature for threes.
You know, I never utilized that feature, but I kind of wish it was there now.
Yeah.
Because I would totally would.
Yep.
For TV or anything else?
I mean, for anything. It would probably be Netflix, to be honest. But, actually, I've been watching a lot of streams lately, a lot of Twitch streams. So if I could throw Twitch up there without having to look down at my phone or my iPad, it'd be even better. But I could see that feature being very useful for a game like threes.
Yep.
See, I never used the snap feature to watch something because I wanted to focus on whatever game I was playing. But I like to use it for achievements.
Well, I mean, if you could reverse it and put threes as the smaller snap screen, that would be like the most ideal situation.
I think that's what you could do. That's how it worked.
Because I mean, it's just
really?
It's a 4x4, maybe a 5x5 grid, and all you're doing is moving it.
Yeah, it reminded me of going back to World of Warcraft. They implemented, I think they did this, or other people were just doing this, but they were playing like Bejeweled on the Griffins, flying from zone to zone. So like as you're flying through zones, you're playing Bejeweled. It just reminded me very much of that. But enough of WoW.
I mean,
wow.
Did you have any
what about you?
Fun, exciting, sexy times this week?
Sexy
Foo-foo?
times.
Or play any games?
Or that?
I actually did play some games. I've been on a fighting game kick lately. I don't know what it is. I'm not the biggest fighting game fan, but every so often, like I start to play one, and it's just like all I really want to do is play them. And I played two this week. One actually, Corey, you and I did a little boosting in Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Tried. We got a couple of ranked wins for each other. And then the other one that I was playing a bunch of is Dead or Alive 6. Now, I actually really enjoy these games. They're a really solid fighter. But the nice part about this is it has a lot of easy achievements. As right now, I'm 20 of 36, and I have only a couple hours into the game.
See, fighting games, that genre is interesting to me. I like the genre. I enjoy it. I go way back with Mortal Kombat. I always love those games. But I never spend enough time to become, expert at it or anything like that. I don't memorize the combos. And especially when you mix and mingle different fighting games, I find it very hard to adjust quickly to the another one because of how different they can be.
Yeah, there's no time to master all the games now. If you're going to play them all, you're going to be just touring. You're not going to be excelling at any of them. And it's not the way. It's not the way you've been playing games these past couple of years. So
true. I am surprised that you didn't mention Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, since it's a new one to Game Pass.
I have it downloaded. I haven't tried it yet. It's on the list.
All 64 gigs. Which
is still insane to me how big that game is for our fighting game. Jeez, it was.
It's infinitely big.
Let's get on to some news. There's not really a whole lot worth talking about. There is one unfortunate news story. Happy Dungeons, they have announced a server closure. The server closure is coming June 17th. Now, this really shouldn't be any shock considering a couple of the Happy games, Happy Wars, and I forget the other ones. They're all closing down. But have you guys played Happy Dungeon any? I personally haven't tried it, so this is no skin off my back. I don't much care.
That's a big no from me. I think I played Happy Wars. I played one of them, and yeah, not my cup of tea. I didn't really understand it. Of course, I didn't play it longer than probably 15 minutes to understand it.
Yeah, I was late to Happy Wars, but I was right there at the door of Happy Dungeons. So when it came down and it was free, I, of course, downloaded it and tried it and made some progress. They actually announced this before as well, the server shutdown. So this is just kind of a reminder shutdown.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's kind of in my to-do list to go and try to get the full completion, but it would require a few other people to be stupid enough to also try that, because there's some group achievements that you have to do. But I've already done the time ones, playing for 100 hours, playing for, 50 hours as each class, just by idling while I was at work. So I wasn't really doing too much for that. Yeah, so you can idle those. You can get a lot of achievements in a short amount of time. You may not be able to get the full completion unless you have a group, but yeah. And it's not that bad of a game. I mean, there's fun to be had in that game. More so than Happy Wars, I think.
Well, I was about to say, I can just let it idle and grab some achievements. That sounds great.
Sure can.
I click onto the TA page. This game has been removed from the Microsoft Store. So I guess not.
Oh.
This isn't going to my tag.
So sad.
Oh, well. So if you want to complete that, better jump on it now. We only got 2 months.
Yeah.
And if you need a channel in Discord to get together, then don't hesitate to ask, because I'm sure one will be created at the drop of a dime at that.
Ell has his finger ready, and it's itching to make a new channel.
He's not even here, and he's ready.
He just senses that a new channel needs to be created, by all means. We also have a community question this week. Mail time. The mail's here. This one actually wasn't asked to us. It was actually on my TA feed.
This is an eavesdropped question, basically.
Yeah, there you go. This was an eavesdrop question.
She just didn't. It was understood that it was to AH 101.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't tag us.
Exactly. I'm just gonna take it and we're gonna run with it. Kitty Skies asked a question on TA and said, "What's your hardest game completion which you didn't think you could do?" Now she completed Roundabout. Nate, how about you?
For me, I was thinking about this, and I had 2 different categories. One was like a multiplayer game, and that would have been Titanfall, because it was just going to take way too long, and just some of these things were impossible. Like, I could not shoot a pilot that was ejecting, because they would do these weird corkscrews, or they would go invisible, or something else. So there was no way I was going to get that naturally.
Gen 10 is stupid.
Yeah, in any sane amount of time. So I was just kind of like, well, that's not going to happen. So with a boost, that was surprisingly fun and doable. So for me, that was pretty hard, which I thought was going to be very hard, but ended up being doable. And as far as solo, no time to explain.
We have time to explain it.
No,
by all means, go into it.
I have to be somewhere.
Oh, okay.
That game, it just has some very challenging sections. And if you're just persistent and you just kind of keep at it and you get lucky, you can actually beat it. So, or at least I was able to. And I thought it was
that game can suck it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I thought it was behind, or I thought it was beyond my abilities, but maybe I just got lucky that day. And actually, one of the reviews on TA is written by Matriarch. So,
ooh,
yeah. So give it a read, maybe. How about you, Corey?
Yeah, so I am going to cheat a little bit. I was looking through the completed games on my tag, and there's really nothing stood out to me. Like, yeah, there was Plants vs. Zombies, but we boosted it, so I intended to complete it, and ultimately it wasn't that hard. But I'm going to cheat a little bit and pick a game that I've yet to complete, but I'm going to complete. It's just a matter of when, and that will be the always mentioned Guacamelee, the first one.
Always mentioned.
Royalty checks.
I don't know what this game is.
Yeah, so I have completed the second one. It wasn't. I did not find it that hard. Had a lot of fun with it, and it's probably because I at the time was playing both of these games pretty consistently and for the majority of my playtime during that month. It was January. And because of the Metroidvania thing, it kind of forced me to go back to the first one, which I gave up and I was in a very serious walkthrough of it for RTDL. I had to get one of the in-game achievements, and I said, well, I'm going to get all the achievements that I can on that playthrough, so I'm going to go through the walkthrough. And if you're not familiar with Wakapeil, eventually you come to a challenge section of the map, and it's called Inferno. And I think there was 20 doors or so, and you get bronze and silver and gold medals. Well, there happens to be an achievement for getting gold in all of them. Well, I had trouble getting bronze in most of them, and some of them I couldn't even do. And so I just straight up, after playing for at least what it felt like a couple hours on just a couple of these rooms, I gave up on this game. No more, was never going to play it again. Well, luckily for me, I did go back to it. I persevered, and
perseverance.
I got I don't know how much time it took me, but according to TA, I unlocked the gold medal achievement 2 days after the bronze medal one, and so this will be a completion that I never thought I would get, strictly because of those challenge rooms. And I'm glad I went back to it, because now that series and that game is one of my favorites of this generation. So Guacamelee it is.
I love that story.
Yeah, it's truly a heart warmer there. Fufu.
I as well have 2 games, although it's same series. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Now, but these games I highly enjoy. Left 4 Dead's up there, one of my favorite games. So much fun. I didn't ever actually think I would complete this for the sole fact of you gotta complete all the campaigns on expert. Even with the workaround in it, it's still difficult. You still need 4 players, which at the time I didn't have any. And I always considered Left 4 Dead to just be one of those games that's just going to sit on my tag, never actually going to be able to complete, but it'll want that completion that I always want but just can't have. And wound up actually going through it. When I first got into this achievement hunting community with, well, it was originally Z to Z, this was one of the first games that we decided to boost. Left 4 Dead 1, it was actually myself, Big Ell, Skeptical Mario, and Proulx. The 4 of us went through it. And then on Left 4 Dead 2, Skeptical Mario didn't have it, so he dropped out and Michelle Michelle came in, and then the 4 of us completed that game. Lots of fun.
That's a good. You really didn't boost it per se. You might have boosted some, but it's really a co-op experience at that point.
Yeah, so it's definitely more co-op.
You definitely cannot do it solo. Obviously, that goes without saying when you have to win a versus campaign. But yeah, you could join randoms, but a dedicated team that is talking to each other is surely the way to go.
Oh, it makes all the difference.
Now, that one does have a genocidist achievement for killing a bunch of zombies. Did you have
53,595?
Exactly. Did you have any trouble with that, or did you have to grind it out? Or did it come pretty naturally?
I unlocked that before I even knew anyone in the community. I played
that's probably more of a testament to the game, because that is a fun game and a good game.
I've never played it.
Really?
Yep.
We'll never get a 3, so you have all the time in the world to get 1 and 2.
I'm not kidding. If you wanted to play it, I would load it back up just to play with you. I love that game so much to help you out.
Well, coming down the road.
It's a good... Yeah, a lot of the achievements in the first one, more than the second one, I preferred the first. A lot of them I unlocked before we ever decided to start boosting, quote unquote.
Were they fun achievements, or were they like progression based or number based? Or
I would say it's a very fun list.
Yes. It really makes you play all the different characters and from different angles.
Oh, that's fun. That's a good list then.
Yeah. Do you know anything about it?
It's
like the special zombies and stuff like that.
I mean, it's like a rhythm game, right?
Yeah. There you go, man.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's like you have the different special zombies, and you have to either take down a survivor with their ability in a unique way. And then, they do have the generic ones, like beat each campaign on expert. And like he said, kill 53,595 zombies.
Is it actually that number?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, Foof, I don't know if you heard, Have you heard of the game Back 4 Blood?
No.
Just as a quick sidebar, the Turtle Rock Studios have announced a game called Back 4 Blood, and they made Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, I believe. This is the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead.
I like where this is going.
Because as I alluded to earlier, we know Valve will never make Left 4 Dead 3.
Absolutely.
So it seems like they have taken it in their own hands and will be getting that co-op zombie shooter back.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Now,
At least that's the rumor.
Wasn't Earthfall supposed to be kind of like a Left 4 Dead?
I can't recall what Earthfall is.
Well, it didn't do very well.
Well, Turtle Rock's last game, Evolve, didn't do super well either.
This is true.
But
that's how I know Turtle Rock. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I know they're like
they're not dead.
A developer that didn't do too well, but I couldn't remember what it was.
You thought they were dead.
They seem to be doing okay, but yeah.
Well, hopefully it's better than Evolve. They get their crap together.
Well, Evolve was a different game, but that's neither here nor there. So
no. Okay. Well, how about we talk about some sales?
I like sales. It's on sale. It's for me.
Well, in that case, are you buying anything?
No.
Well,
let me look. Yeah, so this sale is a little weak. This week, the actual sale. We do have some more sales coming up that might be talked about later. I guess we'll see. But in the official week of Deals with Gold, I don't know if I'm going to be buying anything, but what did pique my interest, and you guys can tell me that you didn't play them because I'm almost positive you haven't. Mark McMorris, Infinite Air. Now this is a snowboarding game, and my background as a gamer, I put a lot of hours into Cool Borders and Amped,
good game.
and I love snowboarding games. I don't know why. SSX Tricky.
Fun.
I was gonna say, you didn't say SSX.
SSX games. They were pretty good. I did dabble in Steep. It was on a free to play weekend one day, but it didn't quite. It was fun, but it didn't quite grab my attention enough to want to buy it. So I have not dived into that. But this one is $7.50 from $30, so that's a good discount. It has almost 3,400 TA. So it's definitely not going to be easy with 19 completions out of almost 1,100. And so definitely probably won't be going for completion. If I get it, it's going to be more for that fun factor. So I don't know. There's a tab open for it. We will see. Just some honorable mentions. I do want to throw out. There's a game called, I don't know anything about it. There's a game called Juju that's backwards compatible from the 360. It's $224 from $15, and it's a platformer, and it has 1,000 gamer score. So that was pretty rare on a 360 game, right?
Tack and the power of Juju.
And then a favorite of mine from the 360 era is Red Faction Guerrilla, $3 from $20. Now it is not the game for a completionist. I don't even know if the 360 version, how doable it is, because it has very heavy multiplayer achievements there near the end. So I don't even know if it can be boosted or not. And it does have a remastered version that is technically a remastered version that I have, but I haven't started yet. And so if you're going for the game, I would probably suggest that one. But if you want to go for that value, $3 for that game. Even the campaign was fantastic for me. I love the destruction in that game. And you can get a lot of achievements in it. It's going to be very hard for the completion, but just for the matchmaking portions.
There's just something about taking a sledgehammer to the side of like a missile silo.
Exactly.
Or a warehouse and just making your own entrance like the Hulk. That is just a fun mechanic.
Yeah, you cannot beat it, for sure.
Was that similar to I just had it. Battlefield Bad Company?
I mean, in the destruction terms, yeah. Bad Company was the one where you could like level buildings.
Huh.
I don't think you could do every building. This one, I'm pretty sure you could do every building. If not, you could do a lot.
I think I played Red Faction, but I might be thinking of Bad Company.
No, there were a bunch of Red Factions. So
yeah, this one in particular, I don't know if I've played the other ones. The sequel didn't get as good of reviews, but Guerrilla was great for me. I put a lot of time in it on the 360. But that is kind of it for me. I'm kind of waiting for that spring sale to kick in. So, what about you, Koosh?
Yeah, I'm waiting for that spring sale. See what's in there. As far as what's currently out there, I did not have, and it was a surprise to me because I thought I did, Disney Bolt. We mentioned it. I mentioned it last week. I can't believe
you don't have that.
I know. I mentioned it last week how I love myself a movie tie-in game, and this is one of those. Apparently, it's not that long. It is $5.99 down from $15 or $14.99. It's got an 8 to 10 hour completion and a 1.362 ratio. So it seems like it was just waiting to be picked up. So I picked that one up.
It almost surprises me that since it's a very heavily licensed game that it's still around.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess get it while they're getting good.
Yeah, I've seen it in GameStop, which is why I was surprised I hadn't picked it up. Because normally when there's a sale where they do like the 4 for $20 or whatever, or whatever their bulk where you have to buy a couple at a time, like those would be the ones that I kind of angle for. So I was a little surprised that I hadn't picked that up. So I got the digital version. I'll probably find the physical version a week from now, and just have to eat that. But whatever.
So it's the wrong dog game on sale.
Another game that I would like to recommend. People may already have it, or may have already played it, but Human Fall Flat. This is a fun game. It is I guess a physics puzzler platformer. It is $7.49 down from $15. It's an 8 to 10 hour completion, unless you watch the speed run, and then you could shave off a considerable amount of time. It is 1,120 gamer score. Now, what did I say? 1,120 gamer score. Because
that's weird.
Well, because there was there have been a few add-ons, or at least one add-on that added gamer score and a new level called Aztec. Now, on the 16th of this month, they're going to add another level called Dark, and if it does what the previous free update did, it'll add 4 to 6 achievements and 120 gamer score. So if you get it now, just know that you're probably going to be at 1240 gamer score for $7.49, and it is a fun game. It's especially fun to play where there's an audience, people just to laugh at how bad you are at the physics. And it's a fun game. I recommend checking it out if you don't already know about it.
It's on Game Pass too.
Yes, it's on Game Pass, but that's not forever. So if this is something you want to keep around, maybe you want to dive in now.
I played this game. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's fun with a group. I would get so frustrated by myself. It's fun with a group if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, because they can kind of just carry you, almost literally, throughout the game.
Yeah, I haven't played it with a group, but I've watched some videos online, and they actually that's the way to do it. Is try it and be like, oh man, this is hard, but then watch kind of the videos and say, oh okay, well these are the tricks that I could use.
Oh, we need to get together then.
See, I've played it a little bit, not that much, maybe 20 minutes, just enough to get the idea of the game. And then I noticed that my nephew was watching his favorite streamer play it, and he's just like, oh, I want to try this game. So I'm like, hey, here's my Xbox with my profile. Take it for a try. And he wound up putting like another 3 hours into it and unlocked a couple of achievements for me. So that worked out well.
So the speed run, the entire speed run, apparently can be done in 6 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, I was just about to say you need that achievement, and so do I. So
yeah,
wink, wink. The dates.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. If you leave the level, does the other person leave the level?
Yeah, I don't remember. I do know that I mean, like I said, you're literally carried. So one person could keep advancing, and then the person who couldn't advance because they weren't good or they just want to sit there, they could die and then respawn near the person who's almost done. And you don't even think you have to be there. As soon as that person finishes the level, it pops for everybody. It was actually really nice in that aspect.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check that speed run achievement.
Yeah,
that 8-minute run.
It's a date.
How many players can play it?
I think that they're
at
adding
least 4.
Yeah, I thought that they were adding 4. I might be thinking of a different game.
Adding 4 to make it 8 co-op?
I'm sorry, adding up to 4 total, but I could be wrong. I might be thinking of another game that...
maybe Gang Beasts. Looks similar.
Maybe... I think there's just another game that was announced recently that was adding a few more extra players locally. And finally, I am opening a tab on the King's Bird. This is a interesting kind of platformer. Apparently, I really like platformers, which is not that much of a surprise to me. It's $13.99 down from $19.99. I don't think a whole lot of people have played it. I believe it's a little bit challenging, but I'm going to watch it. I'd like it to be cheaper, but like I said, I'm opening a tab.
It looked interesting. I watched somebody stream it and get very frustrated at times, but
I just like the movement that it has. So you can you're a bird, I think, or you can at least swoop like a bird. So part of the mechanics is gaining momentum by diving down and coming back up, and then using that to do wall jumps or try to get as much height as you can off of a dive. It looks interesting, but it's a little pricey at $14. I would definitely like it to go a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking at its page, and it has to be the price because it looks like a great game. Like visually, it does not look like crap. It's very minimalistic, but I've seen a lot worse games, and even the gameplay looks solid. And it only has 14 tracked gamers. That's almost a travesty at this point.
That's definitely a very simple looking game.
But 7 people, half the population that has played it, supposedly on TA, has completed it.
Huh.
So take that for what it's worth.
Well, who are those 7 people? It could be the 7 hardcore.
Yeah, a couple of them are some of the hardcore. Cladmaster.
Yep.
Otaken.
Yep. I knew.
Yeah.
I could have guessed those guys. So yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else. Oh, it's actually funny. Those 7 that have completed it, 1300 TA. The next person in line is at 236 TA. So there's like a hard wall somewhere in that game.
Oh, now I'm really tempted now. I need it to go on sale though. We'll see what happens as the week goes on. So.
Man, 14 gamers. This game's been out for 2 months. No one's played this.
It's the price. It's the price and the challenge. Yeah. People don't like hard games.
True.
What about you, Kenny? Anything tempting the wallet? Tickling the wallet open?
Well, at first there wasn't. But then I started going through the easy completions list, and there's 2 specific games that I'm kind of looking at. The first one is Mechanica. Works for me. Now this one's a 0 to 1 hour. It's an adventure, point and click type of a game. It has 30 achievements worth 1,000 gamer score, 1,039 TA, so it's super quick completion. Isn't necessarily the heaviest sale, but usually $5.99 down to $4.50. Not too expensive, $4.50 for a quick completion. I don't know if I'll get that. The other one that...
Hey, real quick, have you played Agatha Knife?
I have not.
I purchased Agatha Knife with the intention to play.
I know of it.
Mechanica is made by the same people, and it's in the Agatha Knife universe. Just to let you know. I have not played Agatha Knife, but I did play and complete Mechanica. I followed a guide, so I did make it quick for myself. Kind of wish I wouldn't have, but, live and learn.
Now, why is that?
Because why is what?
Why is it that you wish you wouldn't have used the guide? Because I see point and click, and I immediately just want to use a guide. I don't like point and click.
Let me guess. Because it's such a short game.
A short game has something to do with it, and then my newfound look on life is, why did I even play it? So, that's just flavor of the week right now for me. why did I even spend my time playing the game just to put points on the tag? I guess that's the answer, but maybe I feel like I sold myself short of the experience. So
I get that.
Kind of like that. It's the one of the better point and click games that I've played. I haven't played a lot because it's not really my genre of choice.
What's that up there with then?
Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one of the ones I played recently.
King's Quest.
I have not played King's Quest. I played Mr. Pumpkin. It's better than Mr. Pumpkin for me.
Well, it probably because it makes sense.
Puzzly.
I'm assuming it makes more sense.
Maybe like Little Acre.
Okay.
Maybe like that.
Okay. Have you played any of the Deponia?
I have not.
Okay.
See, I haven't played a lot of point and click games. I off the top of my head, the only one I can think of that I've played is Mr. Pumpkin, but I've watched a couple of them, and they just don't look fun.
In order to play a point and click, like, legitimate, and you have to actually put effort into paying attention and figuring all that stuff out on your own, and you have to click on everything and read and stuff like that, and most of the time you're trying to make it as efficient as you can.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah,
I'd rather just use the guide, get in, get out.
They're mostly games for enjoyment. They're not going to be ones that you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out if you just follow a guide. It's the sort of thing where you're playing a game, you get stuck, you pull up the guide, and intending just to get past this one challenge. But then it was so easy, right? Oh, well, the guide really was very helpful. And now you get to 5 minutes later, you're at the next puzzle, and you're like, oh, well, I'm stumped again. So you just kind of want to go back to the guide. It's almost as if you would have enjoyed the game more if the guide had never been available.
Yeah, in this case, there are to what TA labels as 12 missables, and I don't know, not enjoying the genre definitely doesn't want to make me play it twice. So that's another reason I would guide it.
That's a valid reason.
Yeah, but to each their own. It is only 1 hour, so it would only add an hour or two to my life.
I would hope, I would hope that we could get more guides for these types of games that are spoiler free, but that indicate, oh, you're going to miss a collectible, you're going to miss something that's going to cause a second playthrough if you continue. Here's the hint. I mean, I would like to see more guides of that.
The guide, there is a walkthrough of this game on TA. It's a good walkthrough. There are pictures and fairly short paragraphs, which I appreciate. I don't like to read a wall of text in between. As far as spoilers go, it's obviously going to spoil the puzzles and stuff, but I don't think they go into too much story detail. But it's kind of hard to not spoil stuff when it comes to a game like this, I would think.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I did the same thing. I kind of wish I wouldn't have used the guide, but level 22. I actually really enjoyed that game. And I used the guide the entire time. And when I was kind of done, I'm like, kind of wish I wouldn't have done that, especially since there was chapter select. I could have always went back to get the collectibles. But yes, guides do tend to ruin games at times.
And those games more than any other, I would think. Yeah. What was the second game that piqued your interest?
Oh, yes. Second game was Fairy Legends of Avalon.
Fairies.
That sounds new. I don't think that's ever been on sale before.
Apparently you know about it.
It's been on sale forever. It comes around all the time. This thing is always on sale. It's crazy. But I've never played it.
I'll be honest, the real reason why I'm interested in this, or what really brought my attention to it, is the fact that it's usually $7.50 and it's down to $1.50.
And it's normally 200 gamer score, and it's still 200 gamer score.
200 gamer score down to 150.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a $1.50 game. I bought Crypt of the Serpent King just because it was $1.50. That's so cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You bought it because it has at least hints about the Flying Dutchman. That's why you want it.
I actually didn't see that, but that's nice.
You SpongeBob fanatic, you.
The other reason why I'm interested in it is because of the genre. An RPG turn-based game, that's up my alley. That sounds like something I'll enjoy. And being 6 to 8 hours, That's a decent amount of gameplay, especially for $1.50.
I smell a challenge.
Oh boy.
I smell a challenge coming up in a couple months.
Some other easy completions.
Oh, I was just looking at the walkthrough for it, which you might want to check out because it does show some gameplay and some footage. The last sentence, the sentence before the last sentence in the walkthrough, it says, "Enjoy your derp ass ending." Whatever that
opened
means.
with that.
Okay, now I kind of want to play even more. A couple other games that you might be interested in if you're just looking for some easy completions. Adam's Venture Origins, 4 to 6 hour game, puzzle adventure. There you go, Michelle.
Don't use a guide.
Okay, yeah, don't use a guide. 15 achievements, 1,000 gamer score, 1,112 TA. So clearly, achievement hunters like this one, everyone's completing it. Have you guys played this one?
I have not. I bought it previously when it was on sale. I don't think it was that deep of a discount. I probably got it at 50%. I think I was waiting for that. But I like this type of game, especially when I have time to enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, doesn't that sting a little when you buy a game and it goes on sale on a deeper discount? You haven't even started it.
Yeah,
get you right there.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, now I don't think I actually mentioned the price. It's typically $30 down to $5. That's a deep discount.
Yeah, that's a better sale than what I got it for. I'm sure I picked it up at 50%. So,
other game might be interested in Owlboy. I know at least you two are interested in that at the least if you don't already own it. For the fact that it's a Metroidvania.
It's a Vayner.
Yep.
Yeah, I picked it up probably in January or early February. It was last on sale. I think probably for the same price, if not close.
Yeah, it's a good game. I completed it. It's one of the Metroidvanias that has a different movement mechanic. So it's not your typical kind of run and gun platforming because you are an Owlboy and you're flying. It's a fun game. I would not call it an easy completion. I wouldn't say it's super hard, but there are one or two challenging things. I guess maybe the easy comes from it doesn't take that long if you're following a guide.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the shorter Metroidvania completions at 8 to 10 hours. And there's 24 achievements worth 1,000 gamer score, 2,317 TA. And it's on sale, usually $25 down to $15.
That TA is a bit high. I wasn't expecting that much.
Yeah. About a tenth of people have completed it. Well, 12.91%.
Was Owlboy in Game Pass at one point?
No. No specials, no deals. Well, there's a couple deals, but nothing that would bring the masses to it. Just over 1,000 tracked right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, shout out to Koosh, Freem, Elroy, and Waka, though. They have all completed this game. Maybe I'll join you soon. I need to start it first, but maybe I'll join you.
Well, I was wrong about Owlboy making it to Game Pass, but one game that is for sure coming to Game Pass is Minecraft.
Now, I think this is the better together version. For the love of God, I don't know. There's so many of these stupid games.
I mean, at this point, there's just one version for Xbox, and that would be the better together version. And now that we are talking about it live on air, I will click Minecraft to tell you that it is the one labeled Minecraft, simply Minecraft.
Yeah,
according to TA.
Yeah, I have it up. It just says Minecraft. I don't know. I've never played Minecraft. I'm going to play Minecraft now. I've always been too cheap to buy this game because I knew it's not something I'd want to spend that much money on.
Yeah, if you don't have it, I would definitely do it. This one in particular can play with the PC version, which you can load up if you have it or know somebody with it. They can load up their achievement worlds, and you could get a lot of it done, if not all of it done, very, 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 very quickly.
Sounds wonderful, and holy crap, this is a popular game. Almost 92,000 track gamers.
It's Minecraft, of course.
And only 790 have completed it. Jeez, whiz.
And just think, at least 90,000 of those people probably paid for it too.
Yeah.
Wow.
In
Yeah.
some form or fashion. They did do like it was either a discount or you got it for free.
I think they were
Well,
pack-ins, right?
this one you got it for free. I think you got the Xbox One version that is discontinued. It was a discount if you had the Minecraft 360 version. Yeah, either way,
Sounds about right.
it's a lot of kids playing.
2,170 gamer scores, which another weird number. And then that comes with a hefty 6,452 TA. So that's if you have Game Pass, you're interested in it, that would be a good game for the BCM.
Not this week though.
Oh yeah, 30 hours. Never mind.
Thanks to those achievement worlds, it brought the completion estimate way, way, way down.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit longer.
Yeah, essentially there's an achievement for staying alive for 100 days, which takes about 33-ish hours, give or take, anyways, that you can't speed up. So that's probably where most of that time is coming from.
Does that have to be done in one sitting, or can you save state?
It tracks it.
Okay.
I don't know if the tracker itself works, but no, it doesn't have to be done at once. Most people with achievement worlds, the one that I'm thinking about that's probably the most popular, he has a room that if you put it on easy, which I think he tells you in the walkthrough, you won't die of hunger or anything like that. So you go into this like one by one room, close the door so nothing will kill you and you won't die of hunger, and you just leave your system running. I remember I had, at the time I was doing it, I had my iPhone going, hooked up to the cable, and the Android phone going, and they just ran like, all day and all night for a day or two. Rip data if you're not on Wi-Fi there.
If you're new to the show and you don't actually know what the BCM is, that's the Better Completions Matter contest. This was conceived and run by a friend of the show, Iron Fist of Snuff. Now, for this contest, the registration is closed. It's actually been closed since the first of the year. But if you want, you can still play along at home. Embedded in the BCM is a challenge proposed and run by another friend of the show, Freemhole. I think most of us know who that is. Each year, he publishes a list of 30 categories for game completions. Now, with this, you can join in at any point in the year. And if you want more details about that, you can go over to the website, forum.z2z.com, and then just search for the Freemhole's Completion Challenge 2019 there. And you can get the full list of all the categories that he puts out each year. You can conversation over there on who's completed what. But for this week, we're going to focus on the category That's a Grind, which is complete a game that takes at least 50 hours to complete by the TA suggested completion times. Nate, what games are you going to go for this week?
Well, short and sweet, I am going for Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition 360. And I would have to double check what I've said previously, because I feel like I've mentioned this one before. So I'm going to have to double check my categories to make sure I'm not accidentally doubling up and eliminating a contender.
You might have used that for a game with a devil.
Yes. That sounds like
right.
something I would do. Or, no, I think we talked about that. I was going to use Devil May Cry.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think someone else was going to use Diablo.
You're good.
But yeah, so Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition 360. It definitely takes 50 or more hours.
Eventually you'll get that done.
Yeah, unless you have someone dragging you through. But who would do that?
Wild card.
Corey?
Yeah, I was looking through my list of non-completed games and that have time estimates. There's a few that don't. And unfortunately, it needs to be, just to clarify, an estimate of at least 50 hours. So something like 40 to 50 will not work. So that caused me to kind of re-look at the list, and I have two easy ones, quote unquote easy, Star Balls and Clicker Heroes, but I won't use those. I will use a real game.
Clicker Heroes.
I've never really been into Assassin's Creed. I never got into them, but I did put some time into Origins, and I stopped for whatever reason. But that game is a 60 to 80 hour estimate minus the DLC. So I will go ahead and say that one. I do have 13 hours according to TA in it, and that's probably fairly accurate. So I do have some time ahead of me, but I hear so many good things about it, and I think if I just stick to it, I can get her done. So, Assassin's Creed Origins.
I need to play that game. I see
'Cause,
so
I mean,
much about it.
Yeah, and I actually have the gold edition, so I have all the DLC, so I'm ready to go with that.
Even better.
I just need to put the time into it. And luckily, it's not like Assassin's Creed 1 that I'm choosing, because I hear horror stories with that. This one should be doable.
Assassin's Creed 1 isn't terrible. It's just repetitive.
Be careful. Yeah, be careful.
And going from Assassin's Creed Origins to the first, you probably won't like it because there's been so much added to the game.
Oh, I will probably never play an Assassin's Creed before Black Flag.
Oh,
I should probably go back and play
man.
Black Flag because I stopped it.
Brotherhood is so good.
The Ezio collection, just all three of them are so good.
I mean, okay, maybe if I play the remasters, maybe.
There
We'll
we go.
see.
I would say
But, like
AC2
I
and
have
Brotherhood.
Origins and I have Odyssey
agree.
like on deck, ready to go. I probably should play them.
And AC3 wasn't bad. I mean, it was panned, but I'm looking forward to going back and playing it again with without that kind of stigma and sort of see how it goes. But I mean, it was a good game, I think.
I really like 3. I don't agree with a lot of the criticism.
Yeah, I don't think it deserved all that, but yeah, I think you deserve it to go back and try some of the older ACs eventually.
Yeah,
Especially
time will
if you want
come.
to play for fun.
we'll see. But you have a game picked out too, right, Kenny?
I do.
Now,
Now,
a game that actually is 50 hours to complete.
I was just about to say, I need a clarification.
Is it Halo? It's Halo, right?
No,
You
not
can't say
this
Halo
time.
every week.
Not exactly. I have to change it up. I need a clarification on the rule. Now, what if the
I don't have
DL
my gavel this week. Just FYI.
Darn it. What if the DLC adds more time? Now, what I'm getting at is Jurassic World Evolution. This is something I've been eyeing up, and I keep wanting to go back to it. I've done so much into it. I just need a few more achievements to complete it. Now, the completion estimate is 40 to 60. Clearly, not at least 50. I get that, so quiet. But there's been 3 title updates since then. One title update has an estimated completion of 15 hours. The next is 6, and then the third is 8. So it's over the 60-hour mark. Now, does that count?
I would say yes, but I would double check those numbers because the completions require the DLC and the title updates anyway. So if that's the case, I would think you'd have to accept the additional estimates.
That's where I would think too. But yeah,
That makes sense.
definitely need clarification from Mr. Snuffs on that.
I will have to check. But
Yeah, I would say
If-
it's a pretty safe bet.
if for whatever reason that one doesn't count, I have a backup. I want to do, and this one I'm stretching. I would love to be able to do this one. Idle Champions. What's the full name? Idle Champions of the Forgotten Age, I think it is.
Forgotten Realms.
Forgotten Realms. Thank you. Now, this is clearly not just 50 hours. This is way over that. That's over 200 hours, and it's simple. I mean, I know you don't want to do clicker heroes. I'm just gonna add in Idle Champions, and some like the name applies. It's something you can idle, turn it on, walk away, record a podcast while you're quote unquote playing it. Super simple.
It's a grind, man. It's a grind. I'm in the middle of it.
I'm not touching that one.
I actually started it up to do kind of my daily check-in or my every 2-day check-in, and popped an achievement. I was very happy because
Nice.
There's a few and far between now, at least for me. I know other guys who are serious about it are really far along. I think I'm middle of the road at this point, but they're starting to space out for sure.
So yeah, I'm nowhere close to this. I've gotten to like level 99, I think it was. Couldn't do it. Had to restart it. So I'm still in the quote unquote beginning. But I wouldn't go hard at it now. Let it start just island. But that's our games for the BCM/Frameholes Completion Challenge. Now, Iron Fist of Snuffs, he also has an achievement hunting podcast. It's on YouTube. If you're interested, it's called the Cheevo Chums. Give it a listen. It's a friend of the show, and it's a good show. I think you'd like it.
Smash that subscribe button.
And now time for Proclamation Point. Take it away,
Proclamation
Ell, or
Point.
Corey.
Hey, no insults.
So it's routine. It's bad habit.
All right. Well, I'm not Ell, so I'm not going to read this like Ell. So
No one can read
let's
it. Let's
go. Completions. This week we have Death Dealers has reached 40 completed games, and X the Hero has reached 550
Sexy
completed
Xy.
games. Streaks. We have a few streaks this week. Whoa, watch your clothes. Chin Docta is currently on a 25-day streak. Why is that in there? It's less than a month. True Marvelous, 200-day. AWU, 4 years.
Yeah,
Death Dealers,
hold on,
250
Corey,
days.
You said that wrong. It's not a woo. It's ah woo. Oh, my voice is cracked like crazy doing that. You
That's
cannot
why I
replace
didn't do
Ell.
it.
Man.
That's why I not did it. Death Dealers, 250 days. Wakapeil, 2,000-day achievement win streak. And Rocker Dude,
That's you.
that's me, 150 days. Next up is Gamer Score. We have 2. Let's see. What does this say? Nerve Bullet has reached 200,000 Gamer Score, which was a goal of theirs to reach it by November 18th.
Crushed
Very
it.
specific date, but yes,
Crushed it,
he
man.
did crush it. TA Score, Redemption Denied, has hit 3.6 million TA.
That is
Matism
crazy.
at 900,000, running up on a million there. And Carnage, K4, has hit 1.45 million TA. So he's about to hit a big one with 1.5 there. For leaderboards, we have Skeptical Mario. He's now in the top 10,000. Is that right?
Yes.
Of
Right.
achievements completion percentage leaderboard. And another leaderboard achievement that is tied to a goal is Sasha Morning. They are now in the top 100 for TA. That is pretty big. That was their goal to hit by the end of June. So good job on just hitting that in before the half year mark. And that is the proclamation point this week. Good job to everybody mentioned.
Way to go,
Some
everyone.
Big numbers.
3.6 million TA.
25-day achievement win streak. I just got one of those myself, so I'm not I'm not ripping. That's
I think my longest win streak, my longest streak is like 14 days, so I'm not saying nothing.
I will say that I just hit 150 during this past week. I'm getting close to my highest streak. I'm on pace to crush the achievement, how many achievements I hit in that streak, but it is a pain some days when like I'm just playing or like it's been a busy day and I don't have time to play and it's like, oh, I need to log in and get an achievement. So I quickly look and see what's available and it's like, oh, I don't want to play anything with a story. What can I just log in and do? And it's a pain at times for sure.
how much longer are you going?
I would like to hit 1 year and then I would be done with it.
Gotcha.
I tried to. I think I told the story before. I've tried to do that before, and Destiny 2 screwed me over. But I'm trying it again, and then I'm going to cut it off.
Gotcha. Yeah, just has no appeal for me. So
Same.
I don't know why I'm doing it. It has no appeal for me either. It's just like it's a weird thing that I need to prove to myself. I don't know.
gotcha.
That's why I put 3s on my tag.
Right.
You see,
Although
streaks
3s is
lead
fun.
to bad decisions like that. All right, well, I guess that'll about do it for us, unless you guys have anything you'd like to add.
I'm good.
No.
I'm good.
All right, let's go get some Taco Bell.
I was just about to mention Taco Bell. Hit up your Taco Bell if it's $1 or $1.59, as we have discovered, and get that loaded nacho taco. New limited time offer hits the spot. Good stuff.
I will be doing this tomorrow. So
Yeah, post pictures in keto, please. Hashtag keto.
At X the Hero.
done.
Hey X, are cinnamon twists considered keto? I need to know. If pork rinds are, I don't see why this can't be.
Wait, pork rinds are keto?
Very keto, as far as I know.
I don't get the keto diet. Oh, okay. We always go into food. We're not a hungry podcast.
You started it. You said, didn't you? I thought you said
Oh,
that.
I also got the watermelon freeze at Taco Bell, which is new. It comes with candy seeds. Excellent.
Okay, maybe I'll go to Taco Bell tomorrow as well.
Happy hours 2 to 5.
Okay, yeah. Let's continue with this outro.
Thanks to our sponsors, Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Guacamole.
Titanfall. If you enjoyed the show, please like and review us on your platform of choice. We're on Libsyn, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. We're all over the place. Don't forget to also smash that subscribe button. If you want to send us a Twitter tweet, we're on Twitter at Achievements101. You can follow our Mixer page, mixer.com/AH101. And lastly, and most importantly, join our Discord. Come be a part of the community. Link is discord.io/AH101.
Yes, I think even... I think I'll put it in a secret word this week for a giveaway. And it'll be something that we've mentioned in the panel. One word, first person to get it wins.
Is it
game?
And go.
Not anymore, it's not.
I'm gonna censor it. All right, guys. Talk to you next week.
You got to keep beeping yourself out.
Class dismissed.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cooperative Dissonance for the Achievement Hunting 101 podcast. I'm joined today by Proulx. How you doing, Proulx?
Hello, everyone.
Rocker Dude 5012.
Hey, that's me. Hello.
And Big Ell.
Back in the groove.
Oh, there's a spoiler there.
Oops.
And the four of us are going to talk today about Toejam and Earl, Back in the Groove. Now, to be completely honest, I actually don't have a lot of history, so I'm going to lean on the guys here today to do most of the talking. But I'm going to lay down some of the groundwork first before we dive in. Toejam and Earl Back in the Groove was released back at the beginning of the month on March 1st by Human Nature Studios, who also developed the game. It has 1,000 gamer score and 5,000 TA, so you got quite a bit of work to do if you're trying to get the completion in this one. I think everything in the game is obtainable, right?
There's one glitchy one.
That is glitchy, but we're going to get into the achievements a little later. The game can currently be purchased for $19.99 and weighs in at 2.47 gigs. So with all that introduction out of the way, I'm actually going to turn this over to Corey, because I know you were pretty excited for this and reached out, and thanks to the developer for sending us along a copy of the code. So why don't you get started talking about your gameplay experience with Toejam and Earl?
Well, I have little to none nostalgia for this game. I do remember it back in the Sega Genesis days, but I only remember it visually. I have no recollection of actually playing the game or the story or anything like that. So my excitement came from just the name in general and it having a kind of a cool background ish. If you didn't know, this one was a Kickstarter backed game and it did very well on Kickstarter. So it obviously was welcomed by the internet, and so that made me excited to play it, and that's really where my excitement stemmed from, if you will. Now, as soon as I got it, hopped into it and did the tutorial world. I think I did it over 2 nights, actually, but I guess you would call it a roguelike game. It's not easy by any stretch of the means, at least for myself, and essentially the goal of the game is to these alien things and Toejam and Earl and friends, and you crash land it, and you need to find different pieces of your ship in order to build it back together. And once you found them all, you can leave and the game's over. And throughout finding the ship pieces, you are going through different levels using elevators. And I guess you're on Earth. I'm not really sure, but there are Earthlings in the game, so I guess it is Earth.
Mm-hmm.
But as you go through these levels, there may or may not be a ship part on one, and so you're navigating through these unknown maps and unknown terrains with these good or bad enemies along the way. And as you go up, they seem to get tougher and tougher. You have lives and XP and money to help you along the way, but yeah, enemies try to kill you and on your way back to all the ship parts. So that's the game in a nutshell. And like I said, it was pretty hard for me. I don't know if any of you guys played it without before we talk about the co-op experience, if you played it single player and how that was.
Well, actually, before we touch on that part of the experience real quick, I'm just curious because you mentioned at the top that you don't actually have the nostalgia feels for this game that a lot of the folks who were really interested in it did. And I'm kind of in your camp. We had a Genesis at home. I think we had the game, or there was access to it at least, but I don't recall playing it that much. Ell, what about you? Did you have some experience with Toejam and Earl before this came in, or was this strictly you saw it somewhere else before?
No nostalgia for me as well. No, I remember on the Z podcast, Proulx talking about it all the time.
Yes, all the time.
I think so.
Your nostalgia goes over the last few years.
Definitely.
Well, that leads to the point. So, Proulx, you actually had experience with the game from the Genesis version, correct?
Oh, yeah. So, Toejam and Earl was by far my most played Sega Genesis game. And my first system was an NES. But very early on, I was probably maybe 7 or 8, maybe 9, when I got the Genesis. And Toejam and Earl was by far the most played game. Based on its uniqueness, a lot of it was, of course, because of the co-op nature as well. It's not the same sort of co-op that you get in a lot of earlier 8 to 16-bit games where it's maybe a 2D platformer or a fighter or something like that. The fact that you could kind of travel away from each other and do your own sorts of thing and then come back together and meet, that was always so awesome and fascinating. But it was just so random and silly and fun. And it was a blast, and I played it with my siblings. I played it with my friends, in fact, I had two very close friends, two of my closest friends growing up, and they were twins. So there was always 3 of us. So we always kind of swapped out who had to be Earl because he was slow. But yeah, I loved Toejam and Earl growing up. It's such a fun, weird, bizarre game.
Okay, so it's good to know everyone's history, and we'll kind of come back to whether or not Toejam and Earl Back in the Groove hit the right notes for you. But Corey was leading to a fair topic that's probably going to take up quite a bit of our discussion, and that's how you engage with the game. So, Ell, did you get to play it at all single player? Did you mostly play it when we were doing co-op among the 4 of us?
I did not play it single player.
Surprise, surprise.
This is if I can be carried, I will be carried, and we will talk about that later.
Oh, yes, we will. And that matches my experience, too. My experience with Toejam and Earl is entirely cooperative. But, Proulx, I know you put in quite a number of runs, correct?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think I'm probably 15 runs in at this point. And I will definitely admit that the co-op is definitely more satisfying and more fun and engaging. But to me, just because of the nostalgia, it's like I can play for an hour or two and run through the world, and it's still satisfying to me. Now, I could recognize how it might not be for someone who's new to it, doesn't really get it, or who doesn't have that background. And it's certainly not a game that you can sit there and play all day. It's not a game that you want to play every night by yourself. It's meant to be played in co-op, I would say. But there's still some fun to be had in single player.
What about you, Corey? Does that kind of match your thinking?
Definitely, yeah. From my limited single player experience to our co-op sessions, the game doesn't seem to scale that I could tell. So co-op is definitely the way to go. And to be honest, it was more fun co-op. And not having that experience beforehand and not really knowing how the game plays, co-op also kind of allowed me to, I think, to play it in the way that it should be played, and that's a little bit more slow paced and thought out before you continue. When I started out playing by myself, I was trying to get through the levels as quick as I can, and that's really not how you should play this game.
No, yeah.
No, and that was a lesson I learned too. We had played a little co-op with my brother prior to playing with Proulx, and I learned so much in the later walkthrough because we got an explanation of all the gifts and what they do. Now, for those of you who've never played Toejam and Earl, one of the main hooks in the gameplay is that as you go through the levels, you acquire gifts. Sometimes you acquire them because they're just on the ground. Other times you fight Santa Claus and he drops a few for you. But you wind up with gifts in your inventory. The trick with the gifts is that frequently they show up with a bunch of question marks. So you have to weigh the pros and cons of opening them. Whenever you open a gift, its effect takes place. So sometimes you have awesome things, like a boombox that will distract all the earthlings who are trying to attack you, while other times you'll wind up with something like a rain cloud that will keep doing damage to you while you try to walk around, and is incredibly frustrating. The other thing to keep in mind when you're playing in co-op is when your teammates are near you, which will be indicated by sort of sparkling lights on the game screen. Everyone that's with you also gets the benefits. So if you have an item like Icarus wings, for example, that allow you to fly all over the map, anyone nearby you also gets the benefit. And to me, at least in our co-op experience, and you guys can correct me if you feel a different way, really knowing what the items did and working together was the key difference maker in making the game enjoyable. Because I wasn't having a whole lot of fun before we really slowed down and approached it that way.
Yeah, it's the gifts are one of the more interesting parts of this, because it plays to this sort of roguelite, sort of randomness of the game. Mm-hmm. And early on, you don't have a lot of options. In fact, when you first boot up the game, you only know one or two gifts, and then you don't know any of the other ones. And you have a few options on how to learn what they do. You can use them, which is a big risk, because I'd probably say maybe, I don't know, 2/3 are good and 1/3 have a negative effect. But you can also spend money, which you find and get through various means, to identify gifts. You can actually get gifts to identify other gifts. So really, a good run is when you can, through luck and through effort, you can learn what all the gifts do. And then once you get to the later levels, it's way more risky, because if you get something like a randomizer, which will... You've yes. learned all of the gifts, or a good chunk of the gifts. And if you open a randomizer and you don't know what it is, it will change all of your gifts. So now you no longer know which ones you're opening. And at a late stage game, if you're on level 20, or for example, and you do that, it can spell your doom. You can lose the whole run because just because of the luck.
Yeah, and the gifts don't always look standard. So there are several different types of looks of the gift. They may be tall or short or round or wrapped in a bow. But just because you know in one playthrough that the high tops are in a yellow and red box with a ribbon doesn't mean in your next playthrough, or even I think within the same playthrough sometimes, because there are certain question mark blocks that'll show up, that you'll necessarily find the same thing. So learning the patterns on that on one run through isn't going to help you. And that's where it is defined as a roguelite on TA, but it's a little bit deceiving, I think, because you're not really carrying anything over from previous playthroughs that make your later playthroughs better. It's just level to level within your level 1 to level 25 playthrough.
Is that correct, Proulx?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, they've introduced in Back in the Groove, you can, if you make it till the end, unlock some hats, which is but that there's randomness with them as well, so it's the same sort of thing. You can activate the hats for your next run through, but they could be bad or they could be good, and it's not really this. But when I was doing the research into it, and I looked up the roguelite definition on TA, and a very strict reading of that definition, I guess it does fit it, but it's very unlike any other roguelite that you're going to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There are stats. I don't know how much, other than your life bar increasing, because you could see that visually. I'm really not sure how much stats like luck affect things. I'm sure you do get speedier. So there is some of that too, but it doesn't carry over from playthrough to playthrough. So there's still that. And speaking of playthroughs, there are a couple different ways to go through the game, right? Everyone starts with the game available in fixed mode, which means you're going to play stages 1 through 25. They all have the same layout, the different worlds, but the location of objects will be different. But then you open up a different game mode once you complete it. Corey, I know you've been through a run through, so you want to talk a little more about what opens post completion?
Well, I've only completed it as many times as you have at this point. So I don't know too much to add there.
Proulx?
So actually it's once you're in the fixed tutorial world, once you get to level 10, you unlock random mode, which is where the bulk of your time will be spent in the game. Like you say, once you play through fixed mode, whether you get to level 10 or all the way up to level 25, it gets really boring. I guess you could do it if you wanted to play through fixed mode over and over again, because you know where all the spaceship parts are and the elevators. But really, the fun of the game comes in playing random mode, because it switches up the levels, it switches up the geography of the levels, where the different pieces are, all the presents, and all that sorts of stuff. So random mode is the way to go as soon as you unlock it.
All right, and I have to confess I haven't played it, but I want to talk a little more about the cooperative experience too, since it's kind of what we're here to do. So just want to throw it to Ell, because he's been a little quiet while we're discussing sort of the ins and outs of the actual game mechanics. But what were your thoughts on the co-op play? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Well, I enjoyed Proulx carrying me, of course. Well, the first awesome and notable part about co-op is that achievements pop for all 4 people,
Mm-hmm.
or whoever doesn't have it yet.
I will give it that. Yep, it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if it's something that only one person did, it will still pop for everyone.
Do you have an example of one of those achievements offhand?
Sure. The one you did, Boombox Baby, to use the boombox 4 times. I believe it was only you who used it, not everyone.
There was even another instance where there's boom boxes around and you do these little dance things and you get little dance levels or whatnot. And I did a dance without you guys, and I hit level 5, and you guys were still level 4, I think, and the achievement popped for you as well.
Yes, and actually, when you run out of lives, you turn into this, I guess like an angel who flies around. And even then, you can unlock achievements if someone else is doing stuff. So there's a reason to stick around if you're playing and you run out of lives, and you can be gifted lives by the other players.
You can actually also interact with the world as well. If you're an angel or a ghost, whatever it is, you can stun the Earthlings if you go up to them.
Help out.
Yeah, just to help your other friends if they don't have any lives to spare, or if they're just being mean to you and don't want to give you their lives because you just stood in the elevator the whole time.
And one thing I would definitely recommend, if anyone listening to this is curious about the game but has a little trepidation before they go ahead and play it, find someone who knows what they're doing. I feel like we learned a lot on the playthrough we were able to do with you, Proulx, not just with the gifts that we talked about before, but also with managing your lives. Lives can be acquired sometimes through a gift, but you can also acquire them by gaining levels. Not every level gives you a life, but knowing when that might be coming kind of helps you decide when it's worth to take a risk versus when it's worth it to play a little safer. And you can look at the lives of everybody in your team as sort of a cooperative pool, because you can share them in that way. Another thing you can do with your co-op partners is if you're running a little low on health and no one has an item for you to heal up, you can actually high-five your partner and it'll split the available health between you. So it's another way where you can prolong your playthrough by taking advantage of cooperative play.
Yeah, at first, if you don't know what you're doing, first of all, you would assume that you can attack the enemies, and you can't. So that's number one. Until you find a present where you can find tomatoes or something to throw, you cannot kill enemies. Another thing you find is that you can actually fall off the map, and you will fall down to the floor below, and you once again have to find the elevator to go back up. Now, in co-op, that's very interesting because you could be on totally different floors as your co-op partners.
Well, I think that was the case even back on the Genesis. You could fall through to another floor and be on a totally different floor, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a holdover. Although one of the things they added in this version of the game, as Corey mentioned before, it was kickstarted, and throughout the game there are these backer islands where you can hop across. Oftentimes you have to use an item to access them. But if you get to the backers, they usually have gifts for you and they'll dance with you. And there's an achievement tied to that. But I think, Corey, is that the achievement you were saying or alluding to earlier that doesn't seem to be working?
No, the one that doesn't seem to be working is popping all of the bad Earthling types in one game.
Oh.
While that it sounds like a very hard achievement, somebody said that there is some glitchiness to it, and it is the only one with no tracked gamers.
Okay. And With the backer one, I think it's only got 3 tracked gamers now that I'm looking at it on TA. Just like everything else in the game, there's randomization to it. So you won't find the backers at the same place. So that you're going to have to pray to the RNG gods, I guess, to hopefully earn that achievement. And I don't know that a full list of backer island backers is available. So something to keep in mind. Sorry, let me take one more step back. I want to talk a little bit about the online play. Ell, I know you had some pretty strong thoughts about playing online and how that went. So I definitely want to make sure those get aired out.
Well, the first time we played was not with Proulx. It was with Michelle's brother. And there was definitely some weirdness going on. I would get killed, as only I can get killed. And then instead of coming back, I would just I'd be hearing the game. But the screen would just be static, like I wouldn't be able to see what's going on. And it was just very weird. And then the second time we played with Proulx, there was, I believe, twice where Corey had to quit out and go back in. I forget why, though. He got stuck.
Yeah. This happened in the game with Michelle's brother and with Proulx. If somebody picks up like a ship part, for example, everybody sees that it pops up on their screen, and then you get like a little spin wheel of, a little extra thing for finding it. And it seemed if that happened and it took over your screen, if you happen to be doing something at that exact moment, it would mess you up. So the first time, I think I had just hopped in the water and I was stuck in the water. And then the second time, I think it may have been something similar, but it also I may have been in an elevator or trying to get to an elevator, and it's something similar happened. But yeah, a little janky.
Yeah, janky was definitely the word for it. There's another issue too if you play online, that the host has to join the world first. Does that sound correct? Because if the host doesn't join the world first, the other players will wind up on level 0, but the game will be glitched. So you won't be able to progress farther.
Even that one seems a little different as well. And so basically, when she means loads into the world, obviously the host is the one who makes the game. But you're at a character select screen, and you can kind of see where other people have taken a character, and you have to press start to load into the world. Well, the invitees can load into the world first, and if that seems to happen, that's when she's talking about it gets a little weird. Michelle and Ell always ended up at level 0, which is actually kind of a secret level, because you actually start on level 1, and I would start out on level 1 and kind of be stuck there and see nothing spawned on the map.
Yeah, so these were definitely unique to online play, and unfortunately, if you're not overly familiar with the game yet and don't have someone like a Proulx to Sherpa you through the whole thing, it can make the game very frustrating right at the outset, which is unfortunate because I think for Corey and Ell and myself, we left the time we played the game with Proulx going, I hate to admit it, but I kind of had fun. So with all that said, let's actually turn our focus a little bit to achievements, because we've kind of been going on a while and we've touched on the list for a little while. But I have a question I'm going to turn to Ell and Corey, and a question I'm going to turn to Proulx. So I'm going to start with Proulx. As someone who played Toejam and Earl in your youth, how do you feel about this achievement list? Are these kind of things that when you heard about this game coming that you thought you might have to do, or were you surprised by anything in here? Do you feel it makes people engage in the game in a way that's interesting? And did any of them stand out to you?
I actually like the list quite a bit. It seems pretty well balanced overall. There's some fun co-op stuff that you have to do, like sending a bad gift to a friend, and there's some frustrating ones that you like. The thing is that you can save in the game, so almost none of these are unbearable. But like, there's some for just having bad luck, like opening a terrible present past level 20.
Thanks, Corey.
I do think overall the list is very, very good. And in fact, I was angling to be the first to complete the game. There's just a couple that really, really get under my skin. Obviously, the glitchy one, that's just unfortunate. But I know the game's been completed on PlayStation, and the devs have been super, super receptive to any sort of issues. So hopefully they'll get on that. But really, the one that really bothers me, and we were all going for it, was the stupid Hyperfunk Zone achievement. And so that thing, so basically what happens is you find these secret portals in the world, and you go to this sort of 2D quote-unquote platforming section, but you don't control your speed or direction or even your jump. You literally can only phase through things, and that's
Almost like an infinite runner.
Yes, exactly. A terrible infinite runner, because you're placed in the middle of the screen and you can't see anything that's coming at you. So it's I was getting so frustrated with that achievement, and that one bothers me. So Hyperfunk Zone was never a part of Toejam and Earl. It was part of Toejam and Earl 2, which was a 2D platformer, which was a massive letdown back in the day. But that one is probably the only one on the list that I would change, honestly. Everything else is fine with me. I could do everything else. That was the one that got under my skin.
Okay. So for Ell and Corey, and you guys can decide who gets to answer this first. Now, neither of you had played Toejam and Earl and had no, or not in any major way anyway. So what do you think of the list? Do you think that some of the stuff is a little off-putting, that you do have to play the game many times to complete it? Is that something that is okay because you have fun through it or you learn more? What are your thoughts on the list?
So I actually kind of like the list. I think it's varied in a good way. It has you play the game different times, which is fine. You end up getting different things each time, the hats and whatnot, to be specific. So even unlocking all the hats is cool. I don't really like the visit every backer character.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you just for a second, but we've mentioned the hats a couple times. Didn't really talk about what they are, give examples. Could you just give a quick example of the hats and what they do?
So when you beat the game, you have the option of selecting a character and one of 3 hats, I believe. Just beating the game once and picking a hat. I don't even remember which one I picked, so maybe Proulx can give some examples.
Yeah, so there's one that, like, for example, will give you health at random times. And then they always have a primary and a secondary effect. And so you walk around and this hat will randomly activate and give you health. And then the secondary effect is sometimes it will give you, it will revive you if you die. So that's a good hat. But there are different conditions for getting hats as well. Like, you beating the game, there's like, you'd have to beat the game probably a dozen or so times, I'd say. But there's other conditions as well to get hats. Like, you'd have to beat the game on hard mode 5 or 6 times. And you would also have to get to the end of the Hyperfunk Zone to get one of the hats as well. So it's a mixture of things. But it is doable, ? It's close to doable, I'd say.
Now, are all the hats considered power hats, or is that just a certain type of hat?
Every hat is a power hat, yep.
Okay, because there's only one gamer with that achievement.
Yeah, because you have to beat the Hyperfunk Zone, and there's only 6 people that have done that, and then you'd have to also replay the game a whole bunch.
Wow.
So
when we played a few days ago, there were 4 people, and now there's 6 people, so that's good.
To fall. But back to your thoughts on the list. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, so I was mentioning there's an achievement for visiting a Kickstarter backer, and so there's another achievement for visiting every single one of them, and as to my knowledge, that they appear randomly, so I don't know. I don't like when randomness comes into play like that. So you could play it 50 times and still miss that one, even if you hit every one. I don't know, and maybe a hat solves that, and maybe a hat solves some of these that. I'm kind of just scrolling through, like, successfully opened 10 broken presents in a game. Well, when we played the game the other day, I don't even recall. Maybe I found 1 broken present. And so maybe there's a hat that helps me find more broken presents. I don't know. But the RNG makes some of these seem a little tough because they want you to do a lot of it within one game, one run. So, but I mean, I don't know. It's not too bad. I like that the list is varied pretty widely on doing different things in different ways. Makes it fun.
Sure. What are your thoughts, Al?
I agree with what Corey's saying. It's a good varied list. And we've only played twice, and I got 27 of 48 achievements. So that's pretty good. But I do get the feeling you have to play multiple times to get in the groove and keep it going. I would speaking of which, I would like to say the soundtrack is really catchy and fantastic. I really like the funk soundtrack. Blasting it.
That and the subtext that pops up different places. Pretty funny.
There's a humor about the game, the dialogue from the backers and the dialogue from the characters. Very funny stuff. Very colorful game as well. Stands out immediately.
Well, I think that was part of the appeal of Toejam and Earl, even from the Genesis days, is it has character. It's not quite like anything else you've played. It definitely fits a very unique pocket. I can't think of any other game that I would directly equate to Toejam and Earl and go, okay, here's a play-alike. That this game really stands on its own, I think, anyway. And I'm going to also say I agree with the list, the commentaries on the list. The variety is really nice, but you do have to be aware if you're going to purchase the game that it's going to command several replays. It's not a quick completion, but you're definitely going to get your $20 out of it if your plan is to get most of the list. Keep in mind, too, that when you're playing in co-op, if you have a co-op buddy who's ready to heal your friends 10 times, you're going to get that one, too. Definitely play it in co-op if you can. It's beneficial for many, many reasons, and I think more fun that way. Not that I played it in single player to comment. Proulx, what do you think? I know you touched on it before, but did you like both of the experiences kind of completely separately, like not one over the other, or do you kind of favor one?
And also, Corey seemed to think it doesn't scale. Did you notice the same thing? Were there not more enemies in co-op or anything like that?
So I would definitely agree. I mean, I would say play it with 2 people if you can. If you can play it with 3, it's better. If you can play it with 4, it's going to be the best experience that you can have. Not only because of the social experience, obviously that's fantastic, but just in general, the gameplay is more fun when you can all go in separate directions and explore your own things. And all of a sudden, somebody from the the top left corner is, oh my god, I died, I fell off the cliff or whatever, and it's like I had a moment with Michelle where the present I was opening was unclear, so I opened it. And I brought her to me. I was trying to get off this tiny island, and I brought her to me, and I ended up basically pushing her off the cliff into the level below. It's that sort of fun, random stuff that can happen that makes the game great. So I mean, the more people you can play with, the better off it is. And
every time you found the hyperfunk zone, you said, we're going in.
And as far as your question, no, it doesn't scale. I don't think in any way it scales. Basically, it's the same sort of world that you go into single player that you do in co-op. So it's actually a much easier game the more people you have, depending on if everybody pulls their weight, if you know what I'm saying.
And nobody
Does making a sandwich count?
Opens randomizer gifts on level 22.
Hey, you got an achievement.
So with all of this said, we have to kind of get down to the final statement here. Out of 5 non-randomized presents, Proulx, how many presents would you gift Toejam and Earl?
I'd give it 4 presents. 4 presents out of 5. They went with the approach of if it's not broke, don't fix it. So this is so similar to the original, almost to a fault, I would say. But I still had a great time with it, and I still want to get it done. I hope they fix it and they work on the achievements. And seriously, I love playing this game with people. Anybody who wants to, if they need someone to run them through it, I'd love to do it. And I had a great time with you guys. Anybody wants to run through it, I'll do it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Real quick, what was that first? I remember there was a patch that devs put out. Well, what did that fix?
So initially on Xbox, none of your progress would save. So you, like I said before, when you start out, you only have access to the tutorial world, and you have to get to level 10 to unlock the fixed world, and then to get the random world, you have to beat the fixed world, right? So, and then every time you beat a level, you unlock hats and characters. None of that stuff would save. It would save, but when you first booted into the game, it appeared as though it was the first time you booted into the game, even if you had unlocked all these modes and all these characters. So what you would have to have done was load up a random online game, then quit out, and then once the game reloaded, it would see all of your saved data. So it was kind of annoying, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It was just obnoxious. But they really, they turned around probably within a week and fixed that stuff. So I think they're pretty responsive to the community feedback. So hopefully the last achievement that's unobtainable right now will get taken care of in a future patch.
We might need to drop them a line or have them listen to this review.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we will. So, Ell, since the ball is in your court right now, how about you? How many presents would you give to Toejam and Earl back in the groove?
I would give it a 3.5 presents. I definitely enjoyed my time, the second time anyway, with Proulx, but I don't really know how often I would want to go back to it. But I would definitely play again, but not quite sure.
All right. Corey, what about you?
Toejam and Earl back in the groove gets 3 out of 5 presents for me. It probably would have been a solid 4 if the multiplayer worked a little bit smoother for me. But it's definitely one that I wouldn't mind setting up with a group and playing once a week because a run of I don't know if we mentioned it's 25 levels. It'll take you a couple hours if you're taking your time.
It was a good 3 hours, wasn't it?
Maybe, and we were even playing normal.
But we were also trying to uncover all the map squares on 5 of the Worlds is one of the achievements, and we were thinking about the Moonbox thing, thinking about the hyperfunk zones. We unlocked a lot of hyperfunk zones when we were playing because we were really trying to get that done. So we played it in a meandering sort of way. I think if you do really play it just to find the ship parts and get done, you can finish it significantly more quickly than we did. We also had multiple instances where you had to quit out, Corey, and join us. I think that happened twice in the run we did. So all that stuff slows us down, unfortunately. And for those reasons, actually, I'm exactly where you are, Corey. Although I'll give the game this. The very first time we played it, when we played with my brother and we were less aware of what we were doing, I was like, oof, I get the nostalgia goggles because the game is unique and the game has a thing about it, one of those intangibles. But I wasn't having a whole lot of fun. I'm like, this is like a 2.5. But then when we played together and we had a better sense of the game, it got better. And I feel like if some of the online jankiness is addressed in future patches and we keep playing and getting more familiar, I feel like the game will eventually settle at like 4-star 4-gift territory for me because it is fun. There's just something about it that even though it was getting late and you know what happens when it gets late, and for those of us older people we start to get cranky, it still managed to be a good time. So I'm definitely encouraged to keep playing more, but right now because of the online issues I'm also at a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, and I definitely am not done with the game either, especially now that we've beaten. We each have a new character and a power hat. I'm interested to see how that changes it. And maybe how our focus changes. So I look forward to going back to it.
When we played, Proulx was the only one with hats. So Proulx would switch between his different hats. Now all of us have something we can contribute, and that might make the gameplay even quicker. So there's a lot to look forward to. I think that there's a lot of, the ceiling's quite high on this one. So definitely looking forward to going back to it, which we can't always say about the games that we have the opportunity to review.
That is true.
Any final thoughts?
True for Proulx.
All right. Well, if not, thank you very much, Proulx, for joining us on this review.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate your help with the game and with the content. And with that, we will catch you next time.
Thank you, Proulx. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Hello everyone, Wakapeil, that's me, has been busy preparing the game club game Soma for the weekend, but I figured I should do something for the regular podcast as well this week. I've been participating in this month's TA playlist game, which is the 2009 Game of the Year contender Metroidvania and Sneak 'em Up Batman Arkham Asylum. I originally played Arkham Asylum back in 2011, and was very impressed by it back then, but has it stood the test of time? I'm glad to report it certainly has. While its at the time top-notch visuals are not as impressive today, they certainly still look fantastic, and the Xbox One port looks, plays and sounds great in 2019. Much has been said about Mark Hamill's excellent Joker performance, but the rest of the cast are great as well. Arkham Asylum is a technical masterclass with some incredible production values and attention to detail you rarely come across in games. The game design and pacing is phenomenal, only slightly marred by the 300 or so collectibles that are all over the asylum. Making the most of the Batman license, Arkham Asylum wastes as little time introducing the villains as it expects the player to already at least know of them, and if you don't, there is plenty of information for you to dig up in the menus. While the developers named their combat system Free Flow Combo System, Batman Combat has become the public shorthand for this brand of combat, which inspired many others and laid the groundwork for the also great but not as good terrorist simulators Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Replaying the game, I was struck by how violent and horrifying it is. I know the source material is as well, but I have a greater association with Adam West's 60s TV show Batman than any other take on the character. Batman Arkham Asylum has an age rating of 16 in Europe, but somehow got away with a teen rating in America. On top of the graphical beatdowns, murder, executions, torture and general malevolence, there are also straight-up horror sequences, courtesy of the Scarecrow, and some pretty gnarly body horror triggered by the Titan formula. Arkham Asylum has 47 achievements worth between 1,200 to 2,100 TA, depending on which of the 6 versions you play. There are 3 for the 360, 2 for games for Windows Live, and 1 version. The 1 version is worth the highest TA, likely because it has been included in Game Pass for a while now. If you, like me, are returning to Arkham, there is no reason to play on any other difficulty than hard, as many of us have gotten used to this kind of combat, and the few missable achievements won't be a problem. Make sure you beat up the welcoming committee near the end, or you will have to do another playthrough up to the final boss fight. I can confirm the challenge rooms are unaffected by the difficulty you choose. Batman Arkham Asylum still very much feels like a quality AAA game, and like the last time I finished it 8 years ago, I still have appetite for more, which is why I'm installing the Game of the Year edition on my 360 right now. Bye everyone!